Welcome to an episode of the Morning Constitution. I'm glad to be here with Cade Resnick. We've on the You Can't Make This Shit Up. We've covered Winter Springs in the past, and this Commissioner Resnick has been doing a phenomenal job for the people of Winter Springs, and we just wanted to have a chance to kind of follow up with what's going on. And there's a lot of frustration in Winter Springs. I can see that on social media, and just want to get an opportunity to have you talk about what's going on.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Joel. It's always good to see you. It's always a good time. Yeah, happy morning. Winter Springs, like you said, is an interesting place right now. When I ran a campaign to come back as a commissioner, my big focus was on honesty and truthfulness to the people. Your local representatives, I think the big factor is your local representatives may consider themselves having the ultimate power or be ultimately in charge of the city. But the reality is you're still beholden to the people, and you should never forget that. And the truthfulness and honesty needs to be part of the city, and that is still missing in my perspective, in my opinion. There's so many things that you see on a social media site, and there's really just two major groups of people fighting across and throwing barbs at each other in Winter Springs. And between both sides, the truth is sitting there in the middle. Do we have a problem with the wastewater plants? Yes. Are we working to get those taken care of? Yes, sort of. And when I say that, we keep having spills, we keep having issues. We should be able to get this done faster. But we are finding every way to slow the process down, which is a problem for me. Now, I'm not saying that we're manipulating to get to that slow process, but we have outsourced every one of our projects. So those companies aren't necessarily making us a priority. It took us, from what my perspective, about 9 months to get a contract with an outsourced company to move to the next step. If we were really wanting to move that fast inside City Hall, this will be a priority that says, hey, contract, let's get it done. Let's make it focused. 2-3 months, move. So what it looks like, a project that'll finish around 2030, which is 6 years from now, which started when I was prior commissioner in conversations in 1819 with a different company saying this is what it would cost. That's 12 years to fix wastewater plants.
Wow.
And I know government is slow, but 12 years to fix wastewater plants.
But you also you made a point before we got on.
Yep.
That we haven't had a hurricane, and yet we have failed to dredge. Is that like something that, again, another delay, or is that something that they just don't care about right now? There's some other priority that they prefer to do.
So part of my frustration, this is me walking in and trying to talk with the city manager and with staff and say, hey, we need to move on things because we have residents that are concerned, and we still have residents that are not living in their homes, by the way. We still have residents that have not gone home yet because they're still trying to get things fixed, especially on the west side of Winter Springs. Now, I share this with you because, yes, here we are. We're now getting to the second phase or the third phase of clearing the creek. So we waited for money to come, and we waited for contracts to arrive, and then we waited to award those contracts. And each of these steps has been slow moving. The hurricane occurs. My perspective is we should be prepped and ready to say, hey, what do we need to do to clear? What do we do to clean? And annually we should be, and maybe not dredging, because dredging would refer to kind of really getting into the ground and clearing it out of the way, but clearing, cleaning, removing all the debris, debris cleanup and everything. So when water does flow, it doesn't get stuck. That should be annual.
So there's 7 municipalities and 1 county.
Yep.
And many of the other cities get a lot of stuff done with their relationship with the county.
Yep.
Let's talk about your relationship with the county, because that seems a little bit tough right now.
Sure.
So kind of where you stand there.
So as a city, we have no relationship right now with the county that I can speak of, and that is a big problem. We also, to the best of my knowledge right now, don't have a good relationship with the other cities. I come here to chat with you and everything. It sounds very negative, but we have to build bridges and then be able to walk across bridges. In my time being away from the city commission, those bridges were burned. Those were absolutely destroyed, thrown away. And it was, Winter Springs is amazing. We can insulate ourselves from everybody else. But the reality is we can't. We need our partners. We need the county. And yet I often talk to people from the county and they go, yeah, we need to fix Winter Springs. Winter Springs is out there. Winter Springs isn't doing what they're supposed to do. Winter Springs is not communicating with us. And when the county does a basin study or a waterway study, and we aren't necessarily directly involved in it, or we aren't saying, hey, well, here's our waterways too. What can we do and how can we do it? And we're not openly public about it, or we're not even at meetings. That's not building relationships with the county.
How many full-time jobs do you have actually in the county city hall? Like you have the city manager,
Yep.
but people that are running things. I don't mean necessarily your maintenance people, but
Right.
How many people are running the city?
You mean directly
Running the cities, directing the projects.
So Winter Springs is a city manager run city. So you got your city manager, and then underneath your city manager, you have directors. So you have a director of utilities, you have fire, you have a police chief. We do not have a fire department, you have a police chief. You have the director of finance. Don't quote me. I think we only have a manager of human resources, and then we have a director who's like assistant city manager.
Okay.
So we do have a significant number of directors. We have a community relations director who's in charge of the development. My problem, this is a me thing, is we have outsourced so many of our programs and projects that we don't actually have enough staff in-house to do our in-house projects.
Right.
So we've outsourced our wastewater program. We've outsourced our most of our potable water to another company. Even in our community development, we have a couple of staff, but we've outsourced permitting. We've outsourced various pieces.
Right.
So as a city, we do actually take longer to get things done. So you as a regular resident say, hey, I want to do a project. We say to you, it's going to take you 30 days just to get feedback. My perspective of why it's 30 days is we've outsourced it. So we need to go to another company outside of our city and say, we need you to do this.
So if I want to do some project, some lawn maintenance, I want to dig, maybe let's just talk about a pool,
right?
So if I want to build a pool, especially in Winter Springs where water is an issue and all this other stuff, I could see that project taking an extended amount of time in Winter Springs.
I would say yes. A pool may be a bigger project, but I would say yes because portions of that project will have to be outsourced to verify the permitting of it. If you were to ask to put a shed in, or if you were to ask to put an extension on your house, or any kind of permanent structure, I could see 2 weeks because we're local. We're not looking at a big development. We're looking at local. We don't have that much change going on, but we can't do that. We actually have to say to people, hey, it's going to take us at least 30 days. So we've got a lot of, and this is not a problem in the permitting department as individuals. I think they do a good job. It's the fact we have to outsource it.
Well, it's not just a problem with the city. I can say that because we just saw Tallahassee, and I'm going to be speaking with all the Republican legislatures. We've scheduled I have amnesty on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I have Rachel Blaken on Thursday.
Good.
And I will be talking, and I'll actually be able to talk to a commissioner who's running for SOE on Thursday with Pennick. So
Okay.
I'll ask her some questions.
Yeah.
Probably offline about, hey, let's talk about Winter Springs.
Sure.
So, but let's talk about the state legislature. There's a lot of stuff going on in the state legislature that really affects these cities.
Yes.
And we're I'm a Republican, so I'm about smaller government.
Sure.
And you're nonpartisan race. But let's talk about how this one party dominance is affecting these cities.
So that's a great question. As somebody also just like you, I prefer less government. Less government is better, but also local government, because you know what's going on in your local municipality. So for quite a long period of time, home rule, which is the idea that the local government manages itself, has been eroded, has been taken away from us by Tallahassee over and over again. Development is a great example. I go back to the 2010 situation where we were coming out of a recession and we opened the floodgates to development in Florida, to the point that developers have to be given the rights to develop on a property. If the property owner is wanting to sell the property and that particular property has use, there's very limited scope that a city or even a county can say no to. They can help structure it, but that is a problem in how the Tallahassee comes down at us. So now here we go to 2024, and we're looking at more development. In fact, they're pushing more and more development and saying, hey, cities, get out of the way, make sure you can develop. I don't know if you know this, but if we deny something from a developer, or if we deny something in an ordinance, the owners can come back to us and question it, and we'll go straight to Tallahassee and question it.
Wow.
And so so quite often, if we didn't already have it on the books, to add it to the books becomes even more difficult. So, there's a lot of things on the books, a lot of things that are available, that used to be available to local communities, not anymore.
Well, this struggle for affordable housing has been the one thing that I've noticed has driven a lot of this, taking the rights away from cities. So we're going to wrap up. I think those are really good points I'd like to get across to people. But before we go, do you have anything else you just want to say to Winter Springs, to different, the community itself?
To the people of Winter Springs, if you're looking to find out what's actually happening, call me. And I'm not saying that I'm the ultimate person to know everything, but I will, just like I'm sitting with Joel right now having a conversation, I am happy to have a conversation with everybody on what I do know. I won't sugarcoat it. I won't try and make it sound better than it is or worse than it is. I will only tell you how it is. I go to Tallahassee and I speak to our legislators. Sometimes they hear me, sometimes they don't hear me, but at least the door is open. My door is open to the people of Winter Springs and the people of Seminole County as well to find out more. I'm happy to talk to you. You elected me, and that's what I'm here for.
How can they get in touch with you?
Feel free to call me. My number is 407-687-1965. Leave me a voicemail. If I don't answer, I'll be happy to call you back. You can email me at my city Winter Springs email address, cresnick@winterspringsfl.org, or find me on Facebook. I'll do everything I can to reach you, to communicate with you, to get you the information, and to make sure that we have the best city that we can get again. I remember the days when Winter Springs was in many of the magazines as a top 10, top 5 city for all these different things. I want us to get back there. I'm not on either side. I'm on the side of the people.
Awesome. Well, that's Cade Resnick, Commissioner Cade Resnick from Winter Springs, and I am so happy that he's been with us. Please like, please share, please comment. These comments will go directly to Commissioner Resnick, and we just want you to be part of our community so you can know more about your community.
Love it.
Thank you.